It's Tuesday, the 17th of November 2020. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Today's headlines. Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe calls on business to invest and take advantage of low interest rates. That's our main story. Plus, Moderna becomes the second company to report an effective vaccine against coronavirus. State borders are closed again after 17 new cases of COVID-19 in South Australia. And why second-hand cars are getting more expensive. Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe has urged business to seize the opportunity and take on more risk in the current low interest rate environment, saying Australia could experience a rapid rebound after a rush of better than expected recent economic data. Dr. Lowe also conceded that the strengthening in the gravitational pull of global low interest rates had, in part, been a reason for the bank to cut the official interest rate to just 0.1% and keep a lid on short and medium-term bond yields. If the bank hadn't eased monetary policy when it met 2 weeks ago, Australian interest rates would have been relatively higher than other economies, which in turn puts upward pressure on the Aussie dollar. A higher currency acts as a brake on the economy. Now, ironically, since the announcement on November 6, the local currency has actually appreciated. The Governor said it was important that Australian businesses avoided becoming too risk-averse. And if there was further good news on the vaccine front and rapid testing, which there was overnight with Moderna announcing a vaccine that's 94.5% effective, then there could be a sharp rebound in the economy. Balance sheets were in good shape and the government was providing plenty of stimulus, he said. All in all, Governor Lowe was very positive, but clearly needs, and is almost pleading with, business to invest and create jobs. That, along with a quick rollout of an effective vaccine, will be the difference between a stuttering recovery and a quick rebound. In overseas news, Moderna announced overnight that its experimental vaccine was 94.5% effective in preventing COVID-19. And unlike the Pfizer vaccine, it doesn't need ultra-cold storage. It's now possible that the US will have 2 vaccines authorised by the end of the year, and comes as a number of cases in the US past the 11 million mark. Prime Minister Scott Morrison arrived in Japan overnight as data showed that economy expanded at its fastest pace on record during the September quarter, rebounding from its biggest post-war slump. And SpaceX, owned by Elon Musk, has launched 4 astronauts on a flight to the International Space Station, the first NASA crew on a privately owned spacecraft. Locally, South Australia's number of community-transmitted COVID-19 cases grew to 17 yesterday, with the outbreak in Adelaide's northern suburbs triggering a rush of border closures. The state said it would suspend all inbound international flights and people will be asked to work from home. A number of lockdown restrictions have been introduced effective immediately. It was a very odd day on the market. At 10:24am yesterday, markets data and trade execution on the Australian Securities Exchange was frozen after a system upgrade over the weekend. The system was out all day and there was plenty of frustrated investors. The ASX said it expects to be up and running again today. Credit to the Buy Now Pay Later system has more than doubled over the past year, and in a major report on the sector, the Australian Securities and Investments Commission has warned that 1 in 5 users of the products were missing payments, and 20% of users were cutting back on essentials to use the services, while 15% took out additional loans to pay for them. ANZ economists have reforecast their predictions for house prices, saying rather than a 10% high to low drop, the decline will be closer to 2%. Because new home buyers had re-entered the market, some regions would experience house price gains this year. The federal government will pay 400,000 robo-debt recipients $112 million in compensation after settling the largest class action lawsuit in Australia. The dispute was over the government's robo-debt scheme, which automatically generated debts by matching Centrelink data and figures from the ATO. A McDonald's franchisee has been ordered to pay $82,000 for refusing to let an employee have a 10-minute toilet break and threatening staff on Facebook when they complained. And demand for second-hand cars has soared, according to data compiled by Moody's Analytics and Datium Insights. Used car prices are up sharply since the start of the pandemic as people flee from using public transport, according to a report in the Sydney Morning Herald. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. There's more on all of these stories in today's full Fear and Greed podcast, as well as an interview with Andrew Mills from the Tax Institute about the need for tax reform. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your day.